Okay, hello, and not ready. I know I'm in France, but hey. Yeah, in the previous video, I went over about trifold shutters. And I made a little demonstration for you about how a trifold shutter had to be of a certain thickness, otherwise it's going to be too thick. Now, if you're doing like traditional shutters that are ledge and brace, for instance, you'd obviously have ledges on the back and braces on the back. But you have to consider that when it folds, you're going to be increasing its thickness. Now, if you had a ledge on the back as well as the thickness of the shutter as well, such as that, you're going to double up the actual thickness of the shutter when it's in the open position. Only put one screw in each, so that's why I keep doing that. Just as you can see here, the way it folds together like so, we have to consider that. We have to consider that as well. So each element or each fold of the shutter has to be considered as a separate entity with a rebate. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about how do we join the boards together for each fold without the ledges on the back. Well, traditionally in France, we'd put a loose tenon all the way through and just pin the ends. Now, that'd be about 70mm wide, 60-70mm wide, and about ½ inch, about 12.7mm thick, and usually in hardwood. And you would have a few of those down the shutter, and that basically eliminates the purpose or eliminate the need for a ledge and a brace. Because these were in a tight space, they couldn't crank. So you didn't get that effect where each board is trying to go in a direction of gravity, and you end up with like this kind of staggered. Hey, I'll bring it down for you. This sort of staggered effect on the actual fingers and thumbs here, of the shutter because of weight, and that's exaggerated, obviously. So we can also do it another way, and we can use a thing called a Festool Domino Dowler, and that's what I've got here. Now, I've had it for 3 years now, and I use it quite a lot for making frames. But it's also quite good for this job as well, especially with the bifolds or trifolds. And I've done quite a few shutters like this, and I've had no problems with them. I had no comebacks, put it like that. Now, these are the dominoes. Now, they're like little wooden oval pieces of wood, and these are ones that I make. I don't buy the dominoes because I think they're stupid money, really, for what they are, and it takes me minutes to make them. So, and I can use all the scraps of wood that I've got. And this here is a Festool Domino Dowler. And it's a clever little machine, it is too. So let me just show you how that works. If I just take the fence off the front here, or the guide, whatever you like to call it, and we end up with this. This is where the magic is, really. I have to admit, there's magic in this as well, but this is where the magic is, because it can drill an oval hole. With that bit there, it doesn't just go round and round, it goes side to side. So as it's drilling, it's scooping at the same time, and the cutting edges are literally just on the tips there. So let's put that back in there, and I've already started to, I've already put some mortises in already. I just need to do this piece here. So what I did first of all, I used my square, and then I marked where I want the mortise to be, and just drew a line wherever they want to be, just like you would do if you're using a biscuit joiner. Don't try a biscuit joiner for this job, it won't work. So yeah, so I literally just put a line across, and it won't work because the biscuits aren't deep enough. And so it's all marked, and all I've got to do now is put the mortises in here. I'll set the depth, and I'll use the existing board to find the middle of the board. I didn't use the stop depth gauge here because it doesn't fall where I want it to go. Make sure it's tight. And now I'm going to cut these mortises. But first of all, let's turn the extractor on. How are we doing for time anyway? 4 minutes, I'm doing quite well, that's good. I only get 15 minutes, then I want to cut you off, and I don't want to have to edit it. So what we're going to do is now, we'll bring it a bit closer, shall we? That might be a bit nicer. There you go. Look at that beautiful, what a beautiful machine. Oh God, it's so lovely. Right, so now what I'm going to cut the mortises in here. Well, I've already got my lines and my marks here, so I can just do that. So there you go, I put 4 mortises in there, and let's turn the extractor off. So now all I've got to do now is glue it up, and a couple of clamps, set to one side, and then, hey presto, we've got a shutter. And while you're here, if you most kind and click like and subscribe, will you? And maybe that little bell icon, because then you get a warm fuzzy feeling in your pocket. And this is the only thing I don't like with this particular timber. It don't machine very well. It's either that or my cutter needs changing. Or sharpening. It's the original cutter, and I've had this machine now for, how many years now? God, how long have I had that? Probably 6 years now? Yeah, probably about 6 years. And it gets used very, very regularly. It's one of the machines that I bought it, didn't think, for a particular job, and didn't think I'd really use it for much else. And I use it, so much. I tell you what's quite good, is if you do tabletops. Where some people like to use biscuit joiners for fixing tabletops together. This is even better, because what happens with the Festool is that it actually, because you have that distance across each board, you can almost pick the tabletop up, it all stays together. Whereas if you use biscuits, they all fall apart, don't it? That's obviously a lot stronger as well. So now what we've got to do is we've got to start gluing these in. Oh dear, fun, joy, joy, joy. I don't have to get too overzealous with the glue, but I'm going to start. How much can you see? Right, there you go. So I've mixed the glue up, and this is Cascamite. Now Cascamite is a great glue, but not quite as great as it used to be. It used to be very, very good, but I only use it for limited. I have sort of limited uses for it these days. I don't use it like I used to, because it ain't as good as it used to be. Misfire there. Don't know why, but I already had a mark on the piece of wood, and I've put extra mortise in, but that doesn't matter. So I'm just putting a little bit of glue on either side of the mortises, and then I'm going to grab these little dominoes here and just tap them into the hole on one side, like so. And I'll ooze the glue. Woo, we have a bleeder. Right, and that's one there. Right, now I'm going to put some glue into the opposers, just make sure they line up. They do. Now I did 4 on these. Really, I could have done with doing maybe another one in the middle, but I'll do that on the other shot. I'm all over this one, because I've already done it, and I'm in the middle of doing this video. So let's whack some glue into these mortises here. Now you could get a bit overzealous with this and put loads of glue in it if you so wish. It's up to you. If it oozes out, it oozes out. You could glue the tongue. I don't recommend it, because what happens, any expansion and contraction, it'll actually tear the tongue off, and it won't be doing its job. You'll end up having line of sight between the boards. You have light showing through. We don't want that, because obviously the wood is going to move. Now, it's surprising how much force is in a piece of wood. When it wants to go somewhere, it wants to go. I might just put an extra little bit of glue on top of that one. Make sure of it. And then I'm going to squeeze these two together with a clamp, hopefully without damaging the tongue, but it shouldn't require a lot of force, to be honest. It should just go together quite nicely. With a bit of luck. That was just an alignment issue. There we go. You can probably hear each time I'm doing that. It's like a stick, sort of, it gives every time. And all that is just basically because it's nice tight mortise. We like a tight hole, don't we? Mortise. Dear me. Right, so squeeze it up like so. Work the way along. Normally, if that's going to be the finished edge, I'd have a block of wood or something to protect the edge as I go. But because it's not going to be the finished edge, I've got to trim this to width as yet. I'm not worried. I'm more worried about making sure it's all together and it's, It's all together, it's all together. Right, so that's that one on there. Now we've got this last strip here, which has got the rebate in. Yes, you need rebates if you're doing your bifolds or trifolds or quadfold shutters, because you don't want line of sight. You don't want people to see you in your nuddy. No. Oh, I've got a story about that. Oh my God. My father, he was also a joiner, but he's well, I went round to visit him once. How much time we got? Just a second. Okay, we've got time. All right, so I went to see him once. He said, I said, don't knock on the door, and I just come straight in, he says. So I thought next time I went there, I wouldn't knock on the door, I'll go straight in. So I got up to his front door, and he's got Venetian blind. He's gone now, God rest his soul. But yeah, there he was, sitting in his sofa, and just as I was about to knock on the door, or about to go in the door, sorry, there he was in his blue and nuddy, watching the television, start bollock naked, and he got up and his little dangly bits all dangling about just to go and change the channel on the television. Yeah, that's a lasting memory. It's the last memory I got of my father. Actually, no, it's not. Another time I went round to see him, and he says, "Just come round the back." So this is before he didn't know I was coming at that time. But anyway, I turned up, and I went round the back of the house, through the conservatory, into the house. And just as I was about to come into the house, there was my dad, putting the kettle on, and what did he have? What was he wearing? A marl grey thong. Yes, no wonder I'm disturbed. Yes, it's not the sort of memory you really want to have. Yes. But he was a brilliant boat builder. He was old school, you know. I used to work with him quite a lot, and he do clinker and, you know, hard chine and round bilge and all sorts of different hulls, either in plywood or in wood. And yeah, he was a very impressive joiner. He didn't have, I'll tell you what he didn't have. He didn't have much in the way of design finesse. He was a bit kind of like, it works. But the actual carpentry and the joinery that he performed was, well, brilliant, in fact. Ingenious bloke. Very ingenuitive, to say the least. Let's whack that one on there. Hopefully get that. There we go. So, yeah, if you've got any stories about the old man, or your mother, put it in the comments. As long as it's not too, you know. Oh, damn it. Oh, dear me. I've got a stubborn. There we go, we're going. We have time. Oh dear. 1 minute. Let's get a soft foot clamp. This last one's been a bit of a pain. Why is it whenever you're on the video, you always get that stubborn bugger? Oh, there you go. That's just angle of the dangle, that one. Alright, so there we go. That is how I've been doing my bifolds. And yes, I need to put a few clamps on them, set it to one side. There won't be these big old clamps, it'll be some smaller ones. Yep, but that's what I do. So that's how I do my trifold shutters on each individual blade. Anyway, I hope you found that of interest. And don't forget, if you've been most kind, and click like and subscribe.